oh, they're going to be a bottom of the tier team and they're going to lose. They're not even going to come close. And honestly, yes, the Wizards got Westbrook and everything, so they're going to be better. But I still see, like, there's 5 teams that I see 100% making the playoffs in the East. And then after that, it's kind of all up for grabs.
Yeah.
Like,
the East is nowhere near as loaded as the West is. It's like you said, there's maybe 4 guaranteed teams that are going to make the playoffs. And even then, barring injury, some of those, like, you got to think the Nets too. The Nets were a playoff team last year. They're probably going to be really good this year. But again, barring injury to 1 or 2 of those superstars, that whole team can collapse, especially since they traded a lot of their younger assets out to get those star guys in there.
I definitely could see the Pistons sneaking in if Dwayne Casey said all these guys that are coming in have just clean slates. Like, he doesn't care what happened on past teams. Like, doesn't care how their career's gone up until this point. He doesn't care. Everyone has a clean slate. Everyone's getting the same observation that he's giving. And how well you do in Detroit is how he assesses you and decides how many minutes you're going to play, how much playing time you're going to play, what groups go in. Like, that's how he's doing it. He doesn't care what you're about your past or anything like that. He's just assessing right now of what you're doing in training camp, what you're doing in preseason, how you're playing. And I think that's a really good thing because we have so many players that if we're bad this season, we're bad and we get another high draft pick and it's just another young piece to build for the future. Like, we have so many players that can just build off of, and if we're bad and we get a high draft pick, then cool. We're bad, we get a high draft pick, another great young player to come to our team. There's some studs coming in this next year's draft class, so like, I'd be fine with it.
I don't see us being a bottom of the barrel in the East. Like, again, with the East being as bad as it is,
Dwayne Casey has a way with players and a way to take a player that has shown potential but hasn't reached their potential to come to Detroit and reach that potential and be as good as they should be.
Perfect example, Christian Wood last year. Look at him. He went from being he was undrafted. Yeah, he went from being...
he was undrafted. But he played for the Pelicans and he showed that potential, but he never got the playing time or never got actually reached the potential to where he comes to Detroit and he's shown all season that he could get there. Well, then the Detroit Pistons go and trade Andre Drummond, and then Christian Wood is our starting center and he balls out and is amazing. And reaches that potential that he's supposed to make, and then gets a $40 million contract this offseason. Projecting that Sekou Naboya could be up for most improved player this year because I think he's going to take that next step like Pascal Siakam did. And I think Sekou Naboya is going to be in the running for most improved player and maybe even start at small forward or start over Blake Griffin at power forward just because of how good he's playing.
I don't know. Again, so much is just up in the air because we still have Jeremiah Grant, where is he going to play, small forward or power forward? So like you said, it's just having all these players that can split these positions. I think it's just another way to mix up combinations on the court so we don't always have. And like I said, that goes back to what we said earlier. I don't think anyone on this team is going to average maybe more than 25 to 30 minutes a game because, like I said, with so many different positions that we want to play. And I'm sure we want to try out the young guys. Obviously, we'll probably start with the vets getting a little bit more minutes in the beginning of the year and then, again, transition to more Killian Hayes, more Isaiah Stewart, more Sekou Naboya, but
I'm just very excited because of that. Like, yes, we could suck and get a high draft pick, and I'm not rooting for us to lose or anything, but I'm also fine with it because I know we are in a rebuild situation. But I also see this team being like an OKC team last year, having those good vet with a bunch of young players, just making a surprise and like a Blake Griffin balling out and like being an all-star Blake Griffin with Sekou Naboya, players stepping up and playing a lot better than last year and stuff. And with Blake Griffin being Blake Griffin of the past, leading us to the playoffs by himself, I have high hopes for the Pistons this year. Obviously, as Detroit fans, we all know having high hopes for sports teams in the offseason leading into the season normally don't work out. But I got high hopes. I love Dwayne Casey. He's a great coach, and I think the roster we have right now is just perfect because we can have so many different lineups and so many different players at each position that can come in and score and play. Basically like a Miami Heat. Like, anybody on the floor can go out and drop 40 points. Are they going to every single night? No, they're not. It's going to be, oh, Derrick Rose drops 40 this game. Blake Griffin drops 40 this game. Jeremiah Grant could go out. Killian Hayes could go out and drop. Like, every single game, it can be a different player going out and dropping lots of points and just being the player of the game, instead of only having that one player that you know that player is dropping you 40 and you're hoping the rest of your team can play good enough.
Yeah, exactly.